We're at it again. Another epic adventure. We're going to visit a place called Whitehall, Texas today. We're going up to the ride start and see if there are people that are going to be riding with us or not. And then we'll head out there. We're going to get some clips for you guys. Should be interesting.
On this ride, Paul and I left on Hampton, rolled into the woodlands. We picked up about 4 riders, headed down through Sterling Ridge. We took May Valley out on 2978 on Dobbins Huff Smith all the way out. We ended up doing like 149 there. We spent some time on the tollway, believe it or not, into Magnolia on 1774. When we got to Riley Road, we started our rotating Paceline. We started the filming. I wanted to film the roads less traveled. We rode all the way through 323 back to Whitehall, Texas on 2988. We stopped the filming there. We came back on 302. Out by Todd Mission, got on 1774, 1488, went over Mount Magnolia on 1488. It was a nice stretch. All of that's off camera. It was a wet morning. It dried out later in the day, but we got nice and dirty early on from just the light rain on the roads. It was not forecasted to rain. It was supposed to just be cloudy, but I think you would love the clips we put together. We're discussing a route. I had prepared a map and put it on the board for the Veloharmony group ride, and so we're just discussing the route. We're heading out. It's a little after 7:30. We clipped in at 7:30, and there's a lady named, I believe, Carly. I hope I got it right, in San Diego, California. We said a prayer for her. She's dealing with breast cancer. She's a beast of a rider. So she's already had the treatment and surgery, and we wish her a full and speedy recovery to get back out there and make the boys hurt. And so we said a prayer before the ride. Abby said a prayer for her, and we took off. And you can see, look at the pavement, it's damp. It rained overnight. It was not supposed to rain during the day. Ended up the first hour and a half, the first 90 minutes of this ride, I believe, it was just misting, light rain. So we just got dirty, you know, just enough rain to get the roads dirty. Not the kind that cleans the bike and all that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, it worked out. It ended up being a good ride. Once we got out there, it dried out a little bit. So this is Research Forest. We're leaving. Our rides are leaving from Crust Pizza, but we're not leaving from Crust. We're leaving from the same shopping center. We're leaving from the Walgreens on the southeast corner of the Alden Bridge Village Center. That's where we're leaving from. This is Research Forest Boulevard in the Woodlands. So we're leaving from the Walgreens because it's quieter. Because when we leave the Crust Pizza, where those guys used to leave from, near Crust Pizza, is right next to the Kroger, and people shop, you know, early in the morning. The parking lot's packed. So where we're leaving from, there's no one's there. So we have empty spaces. You know, the Walgreens doesn't open this early. So this is Alden Bridge Drive. We're gonna turn left here. It's unprotected. You see the yellow light blinking over there. Most of the roads in the woodlands, they have blinking lights for the unprotected traffic so they can keep people moving. You see the pavement here is dry. The one we were on was wet, so it was just spotted showers.
Oh yeah? Yeah, that's Jerry.
We saw another rider. We thought maybe it was Jerry Lutner, but it didn't turn out to be so. He was on Research Forest behind us.
One of the Santee people. Yeah.
That's what I mentioned to Paul.
No, I'm going to turn it off in it right here.
All right, you legends. We're all dirty. This is a day for the hard men. Here we go.
It's about 90 minutes into the ride with the guys, because we probably rode about maybe an hour into the ride with the guys. We rode almost 50 minutes or so to get out to Crust Pizza. So we're on Riley Road, headed west. And in a kilometer or so, Doug Shot will ride up and suggest that we do a rotating Paceline. The rain has died down, but it missed it enough to get us dirty. So our legs are dirty, the bikes are dirty. We ended up, when we stopped at Whitehall, using paper towels to just kind of clean off a bit, because I hate having all that road grime on me. But it wasn't too terrible. We ended up just staying a little off the wheel we were following before we got to this point. But here the road has dried out quite a bit. I'm going up a grade here. It's probably around 3.5%, 4%. Yeah, there's a 4% above the Cyclist. There's a grade right there. We have Clement Champoussin in the front right now pulling, and then Kenny is behind him, and this is Mike Barrera from San Diego, California. We refer to him here as California Mike or San Diego. I think San Diego Mike is what one of the other guys. Paul said it's crazy. We're going into the wind here, up a grade like it's flat. We're moving. But there was a guy at a ride that referred to Mike as San Diego Mike. You know, so we have a lot of Mikes in the area, so he just wanted to distinguish that. But I like his last name, Barrera. It just has a lot of gusto to it. So, Mike B. Mike hasn't been out here before. Mike did not come with us the first time we came out here, so he's not aware of the grades, especially on 325, and you will see he would get caught out in the wrong gear, and I will point that out. But before we get on 325, that's a few kilometers down the road, one of our village idiots, or I should say, you know, country idiots, we signal that we're going to turn left. He's the only car behind us, and not on this road, on 362. We signal we're ready to get off the road. He decides to pass after like 4 or 5 of us have already signaled that we're turning left, and then has the nerve to come by and slow down to tell us to get off the road. Oh, everybody got hot. And so, you know, and that's how things can get out of hand. So, you know, we talked it over afterwards, and next time we're just going to ignore them, because you can't teach stupid. And once somebody starts dropping F-bombs, as far as I'm concerned personally, the conversation's over, because they've run out of words. There's no point in me even acknowledging the person after that. So, yeah, the exchange was something that we were not. It shouldn't have gotten. It shouldn't have happened. We should have just ignored him. But you know, the way he came back with that attitude, like he owns the road, and you will hear me tell him, "I paid for this road." So we all had a piece to let him know, but I had to dub out quite a bit of it because he was cursing, you know. And you would hear me ask him, "Do you talk to your mother with that mouth?" He had the nerve to slow down to hear what we were saying. So you're in a hurry, but all of a sudden now you're not in a hurry anymore. But get off the road, like somebody gave him a deed to the road. That's the kind of stuff that can happen, and you read about stuff on the news and it doesn't make sense. And it can happen in either direction, you know. He could pull out a gun, or one of us could have a gun. There are a lot of cyclists that ride armed because of being harassed. You know, this is Texas. You don't need a license to carry the stuff out in public anymore. Our governor signed a bill. You can carry it. You can pack anywhere you want. You just can't go into establishments that don't allow you to have weapons in there. He's gonna do that crap to the wrong person. He's gonna make the evening news with his stupid, just stupid. But anyway, I digress. You will see it occurring, and it's something that I will comment about. How you should try your best to diffuse it by ignoring them. Ignore stupid people. You can't teach them anything. So I think in a little bit, this is where Doug is going to come up here, and he would chat right here. So, I told him, yeah, you know, he's suggesting that why don't we do a rotating Paceline, because it's very breezy. The wind's coming from in front and on the right. So the Paceline would go counterclockwise since the wind is coming from the right. So he's telling everybody the idea of doing a Paceline, and we're going to go ahead and just start rotating. I think he's going to start the rotating Paceline. So that way everybody gets to take a short pull and get into shelter. So the faster line is on the right. The line into the wind is always faster. The line that's shelter should be a little slower. So maybe a kilometer an hour slower or half a mile an hour slower. So as Kenny pulls off, he's backing off the power. Then Mike Barrera is going to pull off and give Kenny his wheel. Right there. And you will see me look down because I'm looking at Mike's wheel. I look at the road right there. I dip my head. I'm looking at his wheel to know when to come over. And then Paulie Longa is going to come. I back off just enough. So we're doing probably 18 miles an hour. Back off a little bit now. Paul's in front of me. Then the next rider is going to come and give Paul his wheel. Like that, Abby. He's a little further up. So then Doug is going through now. You want to keep it steady. You want the speed on the left to be slower than the line on the right. That's the fast line, but it just needs to be a little faster if you want the line, the pace line to be successful. It needs to be smooth. Don't surge. And so I'm on Mike Barrera. Mike's having to speed up because there's a change in pace. I'm riding a mid-sized gear, probably a 5317, and keeping my cadence in the 80s. Just kind of rolling through because I'm in shelter right here behind Mike's wheel. As soon as he pulls off, he will back up just a bit so that my speed that I'm maintaining in the fast line will bring me in front of him gradually. I look down, see me dip my head. You look down, you can see the wheel. That's why I'm telling Paul nice. This line will look good on film, and the day is clearing up because it was really overcast and misty about an hour earlier. You see how my watts at the zero, so I'm basically just soft pedaling behind Paul. And Abby comes, he gives Paul shelter. Then Doug is going to go through, and we just go ahead and continue the line like that. There is always a tendency for some riders who are feeling good to go too fast when they get by the rider who has pulled off, and that messes up the line because then then everybody starts going faster and faster. Before you know it, everybody's going full gas, and then some people start missing turns. So to be successful, the line needs to be as smooth as possible. Yeah, we go through black mud right there on the road, as if to say we're not dirty enough. That's what we're laughing about. But like, that's all we need, you know. Somebody dropped something that looked like mulch, the stuff they mulch with, just black dirt. My back didn't get too dirty because I got my saddlebag there. So Paul comes off the front, he slips in front of me, and then there will be another rider sliding through. Abby's gonna roll. You see how nice and smooth that is? And the goal is to use half of the lane, pretty much where Abby is. That's where you want to be. You want to use half of the lane. So you have about 2 to 3 feet to the yellow line. We don't need to use the whole thing necessarily on a road like this, a 2-lane road. It gives you some buffer when the cars are going by the opposite way. The speeds are changing again. You see Mike Barrera accelerate. I'm riding a larger gear than Mike is, so I'm just kind of rolling.
That's your brother, man.
Somebody gunned their engine going the other way, and Abby says, "That's your brother, man." I think it was messing with Doug. Yeah, there are a lot of people that buy really noisy cars, and then they modify the exhaust to make a lot of noise, like as if to say, "Look at me, I'm driving." I mean, you got to be a pretty small-minded person to go out of your way to want people to notice you when you step on a gas pedal. I mean, come on, get a life, really. Making all that noise going nowhere. And that's how they waste a lot of fuel. Then they complain about the price of gas. Change your driving habits or pay the price of admission. You're not guaranteed. It's not a right to drive a car. You want to drive a car? Pay the price to drive a car. conserve energy by driving more sedately instead of racing from store to store and going nowhere and wasting all that fuel. That's what they do, buying gas every week because they drive like they're in Indianapolis 500. We'll go around this curve. It's a little wet. I back off just a bit. And now I'm going to raise, look at the watts, 4 something just to get going. It takes more energy. This is what I'm talking about. When you drive a car, it's the same thing. When you gun from a stop sign, you burn a lot more fuel than if you get to a speed and cruise. And around here, they'll get on the freeway, be speeding to the next car and hitting the brakes, as opposed to cruising when they're on the freeway. Defeats the purpose of getting on a roadway or a freeway. I think the Europeans call it roadway. If you're gonna get on a freeway, you should be cruising. You find the speed you want to do and hold it. And sip the fuel. No, they gotta accelerate till they get where they're going. I wonder why the tank's half full by the time they get to work. You know. So you have to use your head. So Abby stands here, change the rhythm a little bit. He's still maintaining the speed. He's in the draft. He's sitting on Doug's wheel. He's maintaining the same distance, even though he's out of the saddle. Look at his wheel. That's what I'm talking about. So it's nice to smooth. See, he sat down without stopping his pedaling. The road goes up. I'm standing because it feels good. I'm putting my upper body into it. And as soon as Mike pulls off. Now, we're saying car back. Well, there's not much we're going to change as to what we're doing. We're just going to let people know that somebody's back there that might be coming over. I still move over just half of the lane right there. That's it. I want to give Mike my wheel. And then I make sure my speed either stays the same or a little less than the right lane speed. We'll go. The terrain is changing here. It's going to go slightly downhill. There, see, -1. So the speeds are going to go up just a little. But you can see how little the watts are that I'm putting out. That's the benefit of this. So you just work a little bit. You only work from here. Look where you see Doug is right now. He's going to work until he comes over. Once he comes over, his speed is going to go down a little bit so that this line can come by so he can get Shempusan's wheel. So you're just working for the time it takes you to pass the guy that gets off of from in front of you. Let's put it that way. So right now, Mike Barrera is on Kenny's wheel, so he's in shelter. I'm in shelter this whole time here because I'm on Mike's wheel, even though the crosswind's hitting me. And until Mike pulls off, I don't start to work when it's done right. So right here, when Mike pulls off, this is where I start working, theoretically. So I'm only working for that distance, and then I get in front of Mike and I back off just slightly. And then the next rider comes along. So you can see the work interval is little. This is the section of the road that Shempusan mentioned the first time we brought it. He said somebody didn't pay their taxes. It's like, I think we call this sector, I made a joke about it. I said this is sector 4 of Paris-Roubaix. And it's a tribute to what those guys put up with, because just this section, my hands started itching from the bars bouncing against it. You get a little bit of an itch in your palm. Can't imagine riding cobblestones all day. That's why Phil Liggett made a joke. He said that one of the riders said a while back that after Paris-Roubaix was over, he was still shaking from riding the cobblestones. So we're trying to keep the line through even with all this patina on the pavement. We're going to be turning right in about 50 yards, I think. So the road was relatively quiet. You know, in the morning, Riley Road always is. So that's another reason we executed the Paceline. And we're going to get in about probably 5 kilometers. Paul's talking about how bouncy that was. I'm talking about it. Yeah. Yeah, Mike Barrera say, yeah, it causes you to work harder, you know, because when the road's bouncing around, you got to work harder to keep that speed going, because you're losing traction. And when the road's bouncy like that, you want to use a slightly larger ratio. It gives you more stability. There's so much to this sport. The little nuances that make a difference. Those marginal gains. We still got the line going. A slip in front of him. There you go. Nice shot there. Nice shot. See how Paul slips in front of me? And I'm in shelter. And Abby's working for this period. And he's going to go to the left. And now he will back off just a bit. Just the challenge is keeping it smooth. Because you get one overzealous rider and it messes up the rhythm. Kenny's spinning nicely. Nice high cadence. So is Mr. Barrera. The Legion. Legion of Los Angeles. He's a fan of the Legion. We're turning left. This is a heavily traveled cycling route. So needless to say, we did not expect to be hassled out here. But it can happen anywhere. In the future, we're just not going to engage in any banter with an empty-headed person. Just that sometimes you do things, you react to stuff before you've had a chance to really think it through. So I left some of the stuff in there so you can hear it, but I took out all the stuff where he's dropping F-bombs. Mike's gonna pull off. You will see me drop my head. I always drop my head because I'm looking at the road because I want to see his wheel right there. I want to see his wheel so I can know when to just slide in front of him. Give about a foot and slide in front of him. And the faster you go, the tighter the line is. You can see how quiet it got as soon as Abby got in front of Paul. But we can hold a faster, so we're doing 22 to 23 miles an hour. This whole stretch I've been talking, that's about what we're doing. Mike's chatting. You notice Mike just placed his hand on Abby's back gently because you don't want to put too much weight on another cyclist when they don't expect it. It can affect their line. But this way we're carrying a lot of speed and everybody's doing a bit of work here and there, a bit of work. It's a bit of work, then I pull off, back off just a bit to like 33K. Paul Ilonga is going to come through at about 34, 35K. So about 22, 23. We back off to 21. He comes through at 22. The line on that right side is just a little faster and you just continue. If the wind had been coming from the left, this line would be rotating clockwise. So you always rotate away from the wind so the shelter is shielded. So Abby is sheltered by those guys going around him and the rider in front of him. So the whole time he's protected from the crosswind and everything as everybody goes by. Just very, very nice. This is very frequently done in breakaways and other fast-moving lines. That's how you deal with the wind. This is what we mean by riding together. And then if you're in a breakaway and you're competing, as soon as somebody starts to attack the line, then it messes up everything because, you know, the other riders will just have to work together to maybe pull you in or something. But they're not going to be too happy about it because you're breaking everything up.
The sun wants to come out.
The sun's coming out. Yep. Got a little bit of sunshine. You can see the little dirt from the road on Abby's pants in the middle there. just a little bit. Yeah, we all had those little telltale marks. But once we got to, I was very pleasantly surprised when we got to Whitehall. It's off camera. Abby took paper towels. He got them nice and wet and literally cleaned his entire bike. And we kind of teased him as soon as we left. Any wet spot we saw on the road, we said, "Oh, that's for Abby." Because the joke was, you'll probably run into some puddles, but he didn't care. He just likes his bike clean. And I've noticed his chain and everything is always clean. And that's important, because that way you can know what's going on with your bike. The more you keep it clean, you encounter any issues that it's having, and so you won't have surprises on your ride. I look down again, I see the wheel, and I pull over and just keep it smooth. Just back off just enough to let this person come through at the same pace. I mean, so we're just having a ball. You can see it's very quiet out here. This is where you do that. I mean, you can do it anywhere, especially if you have a 4-lane road. Yeah, you could take one lane and do that. I mean, but it's just, we were kind of surprised that this one car, there was no traffic. There's nothing out here. He wants to prove a point, looking for the wrong kind of attention. That's usually what ignorant people do. They don't have any self-respect. Anybody who would start dropping F-bombs does not respect themselves. Because what response do you expect to get when you talk to someone like that? It's gonna be negative. He's not gonna give you something positive when you curse at him. So that means you don't respect yourself. Because if you respect yourself, you would talk to other people with respect. And so once you identify that, the conversation's over. You don't need to deal with people like that. It's not your problem that they're ignorant. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised. We don't do this kind of a Paceline very often, but man, you can see how long we've been doing it. This is just nice. So kudos to everybody on this ride.
Watch out.
Yeah, Abby was dodging something right there, something on the road hazard, some white little thing we just passed. And that's what you hear me. You hear me ask, because I think Mike Burrell would say, "I'll wake you up in the morning" or something like that. You hear me ask, "What was that?" Abby says someone's his brother from another father. I think it's John Shampusa. He's always messing. He tells me I'm his brother from another mother.
Oh, that was Abby trying to change a lane.
Yeah, I was wondering what it was, because all of a sudden people were reacting. I mean, we intentionally come out this way because it's rural, it's quiet, because we don't want to impede anybody. And it's like, it just really enhances the exercise potential. And most cyclists do that all over the world. Cyclists that are going out training, they seek out quiet roads. They don't want to compete with traffic. There's no fun to it. I think we're about to turn. Yeah, we're talking about Abby says he needs a health break. And so he's asking me where the store is, and I told him probably 45 minutes. And we got to stop before then. So I suggest that we stop on 325, which is quiet and off the beaten path. This is 362, and this is where in a few kilometers this genius comes up on us, wants to act like he's the founder of America. So we're letting everybody know we're going to stop at 325 for a health break.
Yeah, the old man's got to see, guys. Old man issues. We all got to pee. We didn't stop over there.
Yeah, I'm letting him know. We never stopped earlier. We've been riding almost a couple of hours. So, yeah. That's about right. So, and that's the thing with the group. If you need to stop, you just kind of holler, and we stop wherever, we're out in the country, so unless we're near a store or something. So that's kind of, so we decided that we're going to still do the Paceline here, because this road is quiet. This is another secondary road. So Doug goes through, and I'll go ahead and move on. You see, we're using half of the road. So next time we will not engage in any banter with what my daughter refers to as micro brain person. Micro, M-I-C-R-O, small brain. Because it really serves no purpose. They got a problem, they can call the authorities. If you got a problem with me riding on the road, call the cops. They'll educate you. They'll let you know I have a right to be there, since you didn't learn that in grade school. It's called a public utility, with the emphasis on public. If I have rollerblades, I can use the road too. It's a public road. You have people jogging, doing other things wherever. They want to act like they own it. Two fleas fighting over the dog they live on. So now we're going more into the wind. It's kind of a northwesterly flow. But because we're all sharing the work, we can maintain a faster pace. This is Kenny, spinning smoothly as usual. Abby. Clement Chapoussin from the AG2R Citroën La Mondiale team. John Clement Chapoussin Malbrek. John loves the hills back there, but today he has some company. We didn't let him ride off today. So I don't know when it happens. It's going to happen soon. You will see us signal. I think it's somewhere, because we got to the turn real quickly. As you can see, there's been a car now and then. This is no major congested area. But this guy just was looking for the wrong kind of notice. Because we saw him in the mirror. We knew there was a truck back there. He wasn't that close to us when it was time to turn. This is where we enter Grimes County. You see the pavement changed. We just left Montgomery County. We're in Grimes County. It's a nice, actually, chip seal. It's smoother than most chip seal we've been on. And we continue our Paceline. We're using half of the road, which allows them to use the other side to pass. No, but he's special. The thing that was really annoying was he sat behind us for a long time, long before we needed to turn, and then decided to turn after he saw a signal. So he was an instigator. Everybody going about their business, but he wanted to prove a point. So that's what happens. It's unfortunate, but it happens. I think we're getting to the turn in less than a kilometer for 325. It happened at the turn. So we're about to turn. He'd been sitting behind there. After like 3 or 4 of us signaled to turn left, he gets in the left lane. I think I just told him we're going to be turning left. So you'll see it. I ended up dubbing out all the filth that he was dropping on the road. So, this is a family channel. Yeah, left turn, now watch. I can see him back there, but he's not close. Now everybody's gonna point. You see, now I'm letting them know, even though he point, can he point it? No, he must come. Then the funny thing is he slows down next to us to tell us something. We tell him he's coming around, then he slows down to tell us get off the road. Yeah, and then now look at him. He slows down like he's gonna prove a point. So I dubbed it because he's cursing right there. So I told him, if you want to come, bring it on.
I paid for it.
I told him I paid for the road.
In this country, you're an idiot.
So he's cursing. That's why this is dubbed. I asked him if he talked to his mother with that mouth. We were supposed to be scared because he slowed down. So I'm going to get off the road.
Feel that strongly about it, come.
That's the kind of nonsense.
Silent signal, just want to do a flip.
Yeah.
That's what the wrong person.
So the unfortunate thing is that we really should not have even acknowledged him because, well, my thing was we're turning and then you come right at the turn of the street we're turning into and slow down, so he's blocking us to tell us to get off the road. How stupid is that? We're using the road, we're about to turn left, then you coming to block us to tell us to get off the road. Get off the road and go where? In your truck. Just stupid. And that's the nonsense our peace officers have to deal with. Think about it. If every day you got up and you went to work, you were dealing with the dumbest people on the planet, you'd have a heck of a terrible disposition. So I give them credit. You know, that's a tough job. I don't want it. Because I wouldn't make it one day as a cop. I'd beat somebody up. You know, kind of nonsense. Anyway, back to cycling. So we finished the health break, and now we're on 325, right after the turnoff. And this is where we surprised Champoussin here. He has company on these hills today, because we're all feeling it. This is the first little bump. I'm not sure what the grade is, but it's long. See, he's starting. He loves to move up these hills. 3%. It's a little path. There's not a whole lot of room you can see, you know. But I love coming out here because it's just nice and peaceful. This is kind of a slight descent. You see the hill in the distance? That's the first introduction. There are about 3 of them on this road that are very significant. Look at that. See how much speed I picked up? We're doing about almost 40 miles an hour. Now, right on that corner, it's a sharp curve and then it kicks. Right there, Mike Barra is caught in the wrong gear because he said, damn. I said, yeah, you got to really. He hasn't been out here before, so his gear was kind of heavier than he needed for this, so he's trying to get it wound up. He lost his momentum a little bit, but nothing he can't overcome. So he rides back up to us, and then it's gonna turn, it's gonna kick up again, and I think that one's like almost 10% plus. It got some nice little kickers back here. Right around that curve there, where that little corner to the right, where it goes right, it kicks up. It says 22 Celsius, and it feels slightly warmer than that. It is a muggy morning, very unusual for this time of year down here. But this place, that's Central Texas. I mean, Southeast Texas, all the weather patterns, they vary. Right here, we're on the climb. So since I know there's 2 more after this, I didn't go too hard on this one. Just enough to sit there. And I think the next one I go harder I think Kenny and I kind of ride in the middle. They're right within reach. I'm just keeping the effort tamped down. I'm in a larger gear than normally. I think, yeah, my cadence in the 70s to 80s. I'm just gonna keep the gear rolling. Right here it flattens out. You can see the speeds. We're doing 45 kilometers an hour. That's about what, 27, 28 miles an hour. It says -4, so it's a nice little descent. It's kind of a sneaky descent. You see me moving from side to side because I am avoiding the little ruts. And plus I want to see around these guys. We're working hard here. Look at the watts. Almost 30 miles an hour. About 30, 31. $55 kilometers an hour. That's almost 35 miles an hour. I hang a little back and then I'm going to pick up some speed in a little bit. Because I know that we'll lose all the speed. The road's gonna go up. Right there. Kenny starts an attack, I'm on his wheel. And it's on. We're playing here. 600 and some watts. That's the thing about our ride. No restrictions. People want to play, let them play. If you want to sit in, you sit in. Now, I went too hard over there. I realized, okay, we got another one. Let me go ahead and try to catch my breath. The boys are going to come and pass me here. Because I thought this was the last climb. But this is the climb before. There's another one coming. So once they roll past me now, I realized, oh, we got another one. So I would just kind of sit behind them. You can see my heart rate has dropped almost probably 5 beats or something or more. I'm a little behind Paul right now. I'm gonna ride past in a little bit. They're really not that far ahead. It's just the camera angle makes it seem like they're further up. They're just a little bit up the road. Those two guys. We're riding up to them right now. The road's gonna kick back up. I think this is where the smart dog lives. The dog that does not bother you. Once you say, take it easy or say hi, he just stays off the road. So you got to be able to go and recover and go again. That's why you do intervals. It teaches your body to expend a high effort, recover quickly, and repeat. That's what you need for competitive cycling. That's not the only thing you need, but that's part of it. I think Paul's going to give me the camera here so he can focus on riding. We've been going hard this whole stretch. Tell him right turn. Now this road is called 323, County Road 323. And Doug likes the first climb we'll come across. Doug likes it. He always rides it real fast. So Paul hands me the camera here. So I decided I'm going to sit on the back and film everything, and I'm going to use this opportunity to kind of catch my breath. I've already recovered, but it's like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and sit. I've been playing enough. Let me sit back. I'm trying to get the camera situated because when it's on the bumps, the stick that we hold it telescopes, and sometimes it moves to where you don't like it sliding in between your fingers and so forth. So I'm getting it all situated, and I'm avoiding those patches. They just drop the asphalt. They don't smooth them out in certain areas. That's okay for cars, but our bikes are very sensitive. So this is a slight grade here. It probably doesn't register, but yeah, I said 1%. When the weather changes like that, it's like with the mist that we're going through, I think I'm coughing or something. It's like you get stuff in your nasal passages. Because I've been used to the cold weather, now boom, it's warm. And then the day after this ride, it was cool and dry. You know, so we had to bundle up again. On this ride, we're wearing summer stuff, pretty much. The day after the ride, Sunday, it was like 58 in the morning or something like that. The temperature just changes so dramatically, and we had drier air. So I'm sitting at the back, and my goal is to expend minimal effort. Abby's behind me right now. In a little bit, you will see him come around. And this is where Doug likes to go really fast because this is a long climb. Then it kicks up at the end. This is Doug in front of Mike Barrera. Doug is in the red jersey right here. And he's not at the front yet. Kenny's there. But in a little bit, he will ride to the front and he will lead us up the hill. Mike referred to Doug on part of the ride. He said, "Oh, take it easy, John Tomac, when we're coming back." John Tomac was a former mountain bike racer. I don't know if he's still racing. I doubt it. But he was an accomplished mountain bike racer in California. And he mentioned that probably because Doug rides a gravel bike most of the time, which, you know, is on or off road depending on which wheels or what his mood is. That's why he referred to him as John Tomac. So we haven't hit the steepest pitch yet. This is just a gradual, what I call ninja grade, you know, falls flat. But now it's continuing. Look at it snaking up the road. The whole time here we're climbing. That's why I like coming out here. You get to work. So you don't have to think about it. I'm right at sweet spot. So after all the effort that we did back there, even though I'm at sweet spot, it feels harder than what sweet spot should normally feel like. It's hard to explain, but that's just the way things go. You know, and you cope. You just do what you got to do. You know, you got to be able to suffer. I think Doug is at the front. Yeah, Doug is at the front now. So now he's going to go faster. And I just, you see my watch, 500 and something watts. I just keep it right there. I figured that's enough to get me over it. And so does Paul. Paul just keeps it right there. They've gapped us a little bit, but he's going to ride back to him. That's how you do it. You don't need to blow your engine. Just keep it going. I'm being the gatekeeper back here. So everybody's still together. I'll go ahead and stop pedaling. This is a downhill. And I think I'm going to sit up. I don't know if it's here, but I sit up to kind of breathe better or something. Just sit up just to change the way I'm using my muscles. And all I do is make sure the camera is capturing these images. I'm not pedaling at all. You can see how quickly my heart rate went from 170 to almost 160, like that. When you're fit, recovery is quick. Now we go again, no problem. Look at the watts. I'm sitting down because I've got the camera, so I'm not standing. I don't want it jumping around. I wanted to capture what everybody's doing. I told Paul, I said, man, you rode well, because a few weeks ago we were riding easier than this and he was having problems. I think he just had an off day that time, the one with more film. I think he just was tired and so he had not recovered from whatever he did that week. Not necessarily just training, just everything. So this is FM2 here. So I sit up and I take deep breaths. As soon as we turn, you'll see everybody reach for bottles. I think it's here. So I mentioned that to Paul. I said, I noticed that at one point, everybody went for a drink at the same time. Right there. See Paul going. Paul's taking a drink. Doug is taking a drink. Abby's drinking. And then Paul's looking for probably a gel. When you're going this hard, you don't need solids. You need gel if you need something in there. You take a gel because in a few minutes it will be there. I had trouble with my breathing here. There must have been something in the air bothering me. And so I found myself just, I don't know if you heard, I was just trying to clear my throat. But I was fine otherwise. The watts go up because this is a bump. It says 3%. All these roads up and down. This is where you get a workout.
Left turn. Left.
So we're going to turn on County Road 320 because we're going to Whitehall, Texas. So we're getting off of FM2, and this is a county road. Paul and I rode this the day that we ended up at Highway 6, and we ended up backtracking to Whitehall. Those of you who saw that video. But this will take us to Whitehall, Texas. This will take us to FM 2988. I don't think we were passed by a car on that road, if I remember correctly, even today. It's a road that seems to only go to Whitehall, Texas. So if you're not conducting any business or living in Whitehall, Texas, you don't use that road. And it's a nice FM farm to market road. Yeah, there's a car coming in. These paths are so narrow. So we're going to line up as far to the right as we can.
Very narrow, guys.
See everybody lining up to the edge as far so this guy can go by. He's pulling his horse. This bridge looks like you can only have one car at a time on that bridge we just went over. So you can see my recovery, my heart rate's down in the 140s. It's just an indicator of, your heart does not need to work that hard. Once the effort's off, your body has enough fitness to know that, it's almost like a tachometer. You're out of the red or the yellow and orange and back to green or whatever. So it only goes up when you need to, so you recover quickly and you can attack and have repeated attacks when you're really fit. I think Abby is behind me because now he comes forward. Yeah. I wanted to kind of have everybody in the frame. But Abby has a way he will sit off the back, kind of like Jerry does. He sits off the back, just holds the pace. He's not necessarily in the draft per se. He just hangs at the back from time to time. But he took a lot of pulls on this ride. So all I'm doing is watching the road. I'm trying to avoid those bumps. When I'm holding the camera and you hit the bumps, it moves so much to where it makes your hand itchy. And then plus you can hear the stick rattling. So Paul says he just holds it off the bar when the road is bumpy. The sun's coming out a little bit. Big difference, look at that. From a little light to we have some light. Got this Dutch angle going. I just have the camera resting against the hoods while my hands are on the hood so I can use my gears, I use my brakes, no problem. It's like something was affecting me because it was like, I just felt like, man, I couldn't clear my throat. I would go like, try to clear my throat. That's what you're hearing. When we have the change from cold to hot, it fakes out our plants And so, you know, I don't know if there was stuff in the air from that. I don't know, but it's just something. At the time we got to Whitehall, I got something to drink. It went away. I didn't drink much. You will hear me tell Paul when we get to the store in Whitehall that I don't need anything because I really didn't drink much on this ride. I drank before I got on the bike. Look at the road all rattling. Got a lot of patina. That's why it's quiet. Not that bad. There's an area of Waco, Texas, where Baylor College is. Paul told me that the roads are really bad there. And they have a lot of potholes. He never even takes his truck there when they go there. His son went to school there. And he said that he doesn't understand why they don't fix the roads. And Baylor's a pretty big college in the area. I didn't realize the camera was this off as far as the center. And so you had this Dutch angle. This whole place is a grade right here where we're doing. Yeah, 4%. It doesn't look like it, but you know. In a little bit, we're going to pass an area where there are a couple of dogs. Paul and I came across them when we came the last time, and one of the dogs tries to come on the road. You know, he didn't come all the way on the road, but he was like, it almost like they were faking us or fainting. Like, you know, I'm gonna come get you, and they'll see what we would do. And I told him stay off the road, and he just stayed off the road. There are two of them, black and white dogs. They weren't that aggressive. We've seen worse. The guys were just they seemed more curious than anything. Well, right now I'm sitting at sweet spot. So even though the road looks flat, you can see the watts. More than 350, 400, now it's down to 250 or something like that. Lets you know we're working. There's a dog on the left. He and his buddy. So he stops. Then this other guy wants to act like he's tougher. Look at him. I told him stay off the road. You know, so we spread out a little bit. We're going to be turning in about probably 1,000 yards or something, you know, about 500 meters, you know. So right here, I get on Abby's wheel, and then he accelerates like we're racing. And I just held my pace. I just stayed around 20 miles an hour. There's no point in wasting energy. We're going to be turning a little bit. They're not that far ahead. I'm just going to ride to the corner. We're turning to go towards Whitehall. I'm adjusting the camera. I'm actually sitting up and pedaling. My throat is still bothering me. It's like, so I try to clear it a little bit. This is 2988. 2988. And it's just, I felt like I probably needed some lozenges or something. But once I drank the iced tea, Paul bought me some Brisk iced tea is our favorite brand. And once I had that, I was fine. So I think something got in there. You know, it kind of tickles your throat. So we turn, you can see the watt, 400 some watts. This road you turn and it's a grade. And the whole time on that back road, the road was kind of up. So 2% here. In a little bit, I'm going to go around Abby because he keeps leaving a gap. That dog is in a fence area. He's just going to run along the fence. It's not coming out. Look at the sky. Is that beautiful or what? The clouds are kind of moving out of the way. Sun's peeking through. It was supposed to be cloudy the entire day, pretty much. That didn't happen. We got rain and then the sun came out. So our weather fakes out our forecasters. I'm gonna go around Abby in a little bit. He's leaving a huge gap here. That's the way he rides sometimes. So I just go around him and get on Doug's wheel. I think Doug's fishing for a gel or something. Yeah, don't feel like you have to wait till the stop to eat or put something in. If you feel like you need something, you gotta be able to reach in there and, you know, put something in a tank. You can't depend on the stops. The stops should be in addition to what you already put in while you're riding, especially on long rides. You don't want to fall behind. So Doug's going to take a picture. He took out his phone. He's riding to the front to take a picture. We're less than 5 kilometers from Whitehall, Texas. 3 miles, let's say, if that. So he took a really good shot. He posted on the board where we set up the rides. Action shot. John's letting me know that he's going to get on Paul's wheel. I was already aware of it. So instead of slowing down, you see how John pulled to the left so he can catch the wind. I pulled to the right so I can catch the wind because it slowed down as we began this little slight descent. And then knowing that he was already there, once it leveled off, I didn't have to use my brakes. He just slid right back in. We're right outside of Whitehall, Texas. You can see the sign here for the fire station. And as I said, when we got, this is FM 2988. No cars passed us until we got into town. Then we had a couple of cars behind us, and then they waited till we got into the store. And Whitehall welcomes you with a small little 4% climb. One of the best chip seal roads. This one here and the other one. This is Grimes County. Yeah, they did a good job with this road. It's chip seal, but it doesn't feel as chippy as some we ride on.
On the left up ahead.
I let them know the store's on the left. And they're having like a yard sale on the right. Doug ended up going there and taking pictures and stuff.
Car back. Car back. Car's back.
So several cars are back. They're very patient. They're waiting. You know, this is Whitehall, Texas. These people have what we call King Kong brains. You know, they're not rushing anywhere. This is the store. This is where everybody hangs out in town. So, welcome to Whitehall, Texas, in northwestern Grimes County. So I don't know what you did on Saturday, but this is part of what we did. So I'll let you watch the epilogue here.
Keep my glasses on. All right.
Morning. I don't really need anything because I really didn't drink much, so I just wanted to film the store. Yeah. So if you get anything, get iced tea. Our iced tea. I'll just drink it here.
Yeah. You guys are good? Yeah. Okay. I'll send you the details.